Hi, my name is Shams, and today I'm going to be discussing the first part of our feasibility analysis, which is the strength of the business idea, and our company is Virgin Hyperloop. So, to begin with, we are going to start with our first point, which is the extent to which the idea takes advantage of an environmental trend or solves a problem or fills a market gap. The Virgin Hyperloop may raise ridership demand by 80%, which is from 16,000 to 1,000 people per round. It would minimize interstate accidents, saving like $99 million per year while simultaneously reducing the time spent on the road. And the cost of using the Hyperloop may be less than the cost of the gas used to make the trip. According to the study, the linear infrastructure projects cost around 40% less than the high speed rail projects. For your next point, which is the timeliness of entry to the market, while Elon Musk initially proposed Hyperloop in a white paper published in 2013, Musk made the paper available to others for developing their own projects, but he himself entered the market in 2017 with a boring company after being very irritated with the sluggish pace of advancement. So the market entry was zero for Musk. The third point would be the extent to which the idea adds value. The analysis, which was conducted independently by engineering and the procurement company Black and Veatch, looked at the potential route along Missouri's Interstate 70 corridor, and that would cut the travel time from Kansas City to St. Louis within 3.5 hours to only 28 minutes. It took into account different factors such as like the social effect, the station sites, the rights of way, and the regulatory concerns. Although no team has publicly achieved even half of the possible speed, the field is still developing. For the last one, which was the extent to which the customer is satisfied by the competing products that are already available, Hyperloop may soon be available across the United States. Musk has proposed plans for a system connecting Washington, D.C., New York, and Virgin. Hyperloop One reports to Ohio and Colorado, which is also doing feasibility studies. A Hyperloop system in Texas will also be subjected to an environmental impact analysis. That is when the first customers will give their reviews on the product for the first time. And that was all for our first part of the analysis. Now we're going to move on to our next part. Thank you.
When examining industry-related issues, one of the first things we looked at were the number of competitors in the market. There are currently very few freight competitors in Canada, with Canadian National and Canadian Pacific Railways accounting for over 85% of the national freight shipping in Canada. There are also only 3 commuter train services located in Ontario, Montreal, and Vancouver, with Via Rail being the only cross-Canada commuter train available currently. The freight and commuter train industry is largely considered to be in the mature phase of their industry life cycle. The passenger and freight railway systems across Canada and the US have been around for hundreds of years now, and other forms of shipping have taken over. In addition to this, other forms of public transit have taken over due to comfort, speed, and accessibility. However, there is a predicted late growth opportunity in relation to the increasing cost of personal vehicles and air travel. The growth rate of the industry saw a double-digit decline in May 2020, but the gap is slowly closed as countries are seeking to solve their supply chain issues. And one of the solutions that they determined have been increasing their national capacity for interstate and inter-province shipping. And they will also be seeking cheaper forms of transportation. The importance of industry's products and or services to their customers. The supply chain issues have come to the forefront of business in the last few years, especially. Domestic companies are using national transport systems to shore up their supply chain and allows them to discount and advertise their decrease in emissions. The rising costs of oil and maintenance are making consumers seek low-cost transportation methods as well, with many more people in the recent months predicted to change to public transit over personal transit. And the industry operating margins are surprisingly good for this industry, with reports that put the American and Canadian freight railway systems as some of the most profitable industries in their respective countries. The Canadian National Railway reported net margins of 33.7% last year, with the American National Railway reporting over 50% net margins.
Now we'll be focusing on the target market and customer-related issues. Virgin were able to identify a target market of individuals with a want for a speedy, affordable, and environmentally sustainable transportation option from one major city to another. Furthermore, It is an attractive market for many companies as it is a young concept early in its life cycle. As for their ability to create barriers to entry, Virgin is a multinational company with an easily recognizable logo and branding which should give people a reason to choose them over other Hyperloop companies. Now moving on to the founders related issues. Shervin Peshawar, although a very experienced investor and entrepreneur, he does not have experience in the Hyperloop technology industry. However, Brogan Van Brogan is a lot more experienced in the field of technological development, having previously worked at SpaceX as a senior staff engineer and at Northrop Grumman Corporation as a design engineer. Both their skill sets combined would help to provide an edge for them in the industry and could push them towards success. Although I couldn't find much about their networks in the industry, I found out that Shervin Peshawar is friends with founder of Tesla and SpaceX, Elon Musk. Although he's not part of the Hyperloop industry, he's a knowledgeable person and could help to provide some insight. Both their goals is to transform the Hyperloop industry from a science experiment into a viable form of transportation, which would be a perfect fit for this venture. Although Hyperloop technology is something of the future, building a team together would be a challenge, and it is possible. People in the engineering world would want to be part of something that would be advancing the future, and it would cause them to want to join this new venture.
Part 5 of the feasibility analysis is financial issues. The first item I'll cover is in the initial capital investment. Virgin Hyperloop went through 3 rounds of funding initially, and it's now gone through 4 rounds of funding since 2015, and it's now collected a total of $485 million spread over 26 different investors. Number of revenue drivers. There are 2 revenue drivers for the Virgin Hyperloop. The first being ticket sales for transporting people, and the second being freight for transporting commercial freight on. Number 3, time to break even. This project started funding back in 2015 and still hasn't even fully started yet. It's predicted that the project would be done around 2026, and so there's a long ways before breaking even. Financial performance of similar business. Although there are no exact similar businesses, as Hyperloop is a brand new concept, it's said that the transportation industry in general is not profitable and only runs on government subsidies. Although they do predict that the Hyperloop project will be profitable. Ability to fund the initial product using personal funds or bootstrapping. Like I said, they've raised $485 million and they're still a ways away from collecting enough funds to fund the project. It's predicted to be billions of dollars and therefore impossible to fund by yourself. In the end, we believe this venture is not feasible as the startup costs are incredible and funding required for this project is close to the billions. Overall, as an investor, I wouldn't recommend investing as time to break even is years down the line. And even then, the profitability of this project is yet to be seen as there's no other ventures like this on the market. Thanks for listening to our presentation, and I hope you